Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, everyone. Fantasy Life right here on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio. Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you for the next couple of hours on this Monday, breaking down everything that we saw in Week 16, getting you ready for the Monday night miracle that you might need in this one tonight. 49ers going up against the Colts, and of course, getting ready for championship weekend. It was not as fun of a weekend as last weekend, Adam. I think we can say that. How's it going? How you doing?
Yeah, not great. It was not a good Sunday. A lot of disappointments, a lot of injuries. So, yeah, not one of the better weeks. And unfortunately, it comes in week 16, the
Of
semifinals of most
course.
leagues. So,
Yeah, of course.
yeah.
Because what other pain would we expect to have in week 16 besides sadness and sorrow?
Yeah, that's the way I feel today. I mean, even though some teams did advance, I've always said this, for me at least, the losing hits harder than the joy of victory. Like I take the
Oh,
losses way more difficult, and it's not easy to overcome. I really despise losing. I know everyone says that, but for real, it's a sickness for
no.
me.
Everyone needs to know that Adam hates losing. He came on this morning just a few minutes ago. I said, "Hey, Adam, how's it going?" He says, "Terrible." I said, "Oh, okay." I mean, especially with the way that some people could have lost over the weekend. I saw some screenshots. There were some bad beats, and you guys can send them in at Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis over there. But like, I was telling you, me with Josh Allen in my dynasty league, that was tough. 6.9 fantasy points. You had TreVeyon Henderson go down yesterday. You had a few other just like quarterback injuries as well. It was, yeah, it was not as high scoring of a week. I went through and went back and looked, and we did have some heroes, right? We had some guys that we didn't expect to come through. Parker Washington was one of them. Ashton Genty finally had his good big game. Chase Brown showed up. Chris Olave, of course, Puka Nakua. But there were obviously some low lows from guys that we expected to really step up this weekend as well. Sucked.
Yeah, and there were a lot of injuries this week too.
Yeah.
Like I had 5 guys in my home league go down before the week started, and this is a league with 3 receivers and 2 flex spots. So it's really difficult to get suitable replacements. And then, of course, needing a big performance from TreVeyon Henderson last night.
Ugh,
He goes
that one
down with
hurt.
the concussion. So yeah, it was brutal. And look, we talk about this all the time, and I always say that there's an element of luck to this, and that's why it's so hard to win a fantasy football championship, because you need everything to break right, not for an entire season, but also this 3-week period here in the playoffs. And all it takes is one big injury, one bad performance, sometimes multiple, as I just talked about, and that's it. The season is over, just like that. So that's why you need to give these season-long prizes. I do that in my leagues, whether it's most points or best record, because the 14, 15 weeks has to account for something. You can't just let it evaporate into nothing because of a bad week or unfortunate luck in the playoffs.
Yeah, Quinshon Judkins I forgot about him yesterday, was another
Yeah,
one, went down
brutal
with a
injury.
gruesome leg injury. And it's tough to see anyone go down, but when they go down late December, we start asking ourselves, okay, where's their rehab going to take them? Are they going to be able to start the season? So there's a lot to break down from the weekend. We have high highs that we can talk about here, but we definitely have some low scoring affairs that we'll get to as well. And like I said, at Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronas over there on X is where you can send us in any of your screenshots, right, from the weekend for fantasy. I know that some people already sent in some Monday night miracles that they need. You need what? You need Jonathan Taylor to not score 13. Is it 13 fantasy points?
I mean, look, I am up
Come on.
13.2 in the
Okay.
GST. I am done. And our friend Jen Piacente has Jonathan Taylor and the 49ers defense, which in that league, they do not score negative. Like your
Yeah,
defense usually scores points. So, yeah, I'm in trouble. I don't
it's
think
okay.
I don't think I'm going to get that W. And then in another league, I need 27 from George Kittle.
Oh, just
Just
27. I
27.
think
So
I think he
can
hits
he
that by halftime,
can he score
to be
three
honest.
touchdowns tonight, please,
I
Kittle?
mean,
Please.
weirder things have happened. That's why we always say we never give up until the week is done and we roll into Tuesday. I will say one of the worst beats I've ever seen. Actually, it helped me, but I'm in that stacked league, which again you guys can go and follow along on how that's going and on Reddit. But the end of the Lions game, I think killed a lot of people, or at least bashed their hopes a little bit, because at some point, Adam, you thought to yourself, okay, they're really going to come back from this and they're going to go ahead and win this game. But ultimately, they were unable to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. They won their third straight on Sunday, and it was 29-24. And it was the final drive. It brought them to the 2 separate offensive pass interference penalties, each wiping a touchdown off the board. I was facing Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, and I won by 4 points in that one, Adam. If any of those, I know, if any of those went through, I was done for the day. And I could not believe that you had 2 separate offensive pass interference penalties to wipe that game, and they lose. I mean, the Steelers, we've talked about this team being gritty, and they're always, above 500 with Mike Tomlin as their head coach. But this was just a crazy ending to the game.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the Steelers were basically in control of this game. They had the ball for 34 minutes, and they had basically took up the whole third quarter with the ball. Once again, I mean, Kenneth Gainwell just coming through. Oh, my goodness,
Kenneth Gainwell.
He has been so good over the last 6 weeks. Another game with 7 targets, 5 for 78, and a touchdown, led them in receptions and receiving yards. And Jaylen Warren came through too. I mean, you look at what Gainwell has done, and you're like, wow, if Warren only had the backfield to himself, how good could this have been? But Warren, broke off 2 long runs, 14 for 143 and 2 touchdowns. And Detroit, boy, just a real disappointing loss. I think everyone projected them to win this game and, get back in that playoff hunt, make it interesting, especially with Green Bay losing over the weekend. And, boy, I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs did nothing on the ground. Fortunately, he came through in the pass game, but 7 carries for 2 yards.
Yeah, it was brutal. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, that was off the 41.4 fantasy point week 15. And he was held quiet, 9.4 fantasy points. Like that kills your teams as well. He saw 9 targets, though. That was the other part. It wasn't lack of involvement or anything like this, but he did not find openings. And we talked about him going up against Jalen Ramsey. And then he was one of the guys that committed the game-ending, or he did commit the game-ending offensive pass interference penalty. So, yeah, you probably needed them in order to advance for some, but the 9.4 is not all fun. And then they play on Christmas, and that's a must-win game for them at this point.
Boy, that Christmas slate just became
it's horrible.
I mean, it was bad to begin with, and then Gardner Minshew with the likely ACL tear. I mean, boy, that is a ugly slate.
It's not good. Who's JJ McCarthy's backup if he can't play?
Brosman.
For the Vikings. Oh, that's right. Vikings, Lions, Commanders, Cowboys. Cowboys might be the best one, and both those teams aren't playing for anything.
Yeah, they're playing for
Broncos,
nothing.
Chiefs. What are we doing?
Yeah, Broncos obviously need the game, but Kansas City is in a big trouble.
Tailspin.
Like, no one wants to watch them anymore.
No, tailspin. The Jacksonville Jaguars, by the way. Are they? I mean, at some point we have to stop asking if they're legit, right? Because they took down the Broncos at home in this one. The Broncos. So I had been saying that they are 7-0 at home this season, but their winning streak at Mile High extended to the 2024 season. So they snapped an 11-game winning streak for this season. And you saw Jacksonville kind of fueled by Trevor Lawrence again, threw for 3 touchdowns, ran for another. It was his 9th straight game. Jacksonville has scored 25 or more points, and it was the most points scored against the Denver Broncos team this season. I thought that outing, Parker Washington, a hero that no one knew they needed. And of course, I was playing against someone in GST who, of course, started him because why not? When you're putting up 222 fantasy points against me, you might as well just continue to do that. But that was a great game that I was not expecting from Jacksonville.
Yeah, you got to give a lot of credit to Trevor Lawrence because he was being labeled a bust early in the season, and he was not elevating, taking the next step. And a lot of us believed with Liam Cohen coming in that maybe he would go back to that form that we saw in his second year in the NFL. And now it's happened. It's taken some time to get comfortable in this offense, but he's in command of it right now. I mean, this is now 5 impressive games. The last 4 were against bad defenses. So I think a lot of people, which is crazy, think about it. He came into this week coming off a 6-touchdown game.
Yes.
And a lot of people were like, yeah, I can't play him in Denver this week. And you made the case for it. You're like, yeah, I can see that. And then he goes in there and puts up another great performance. 4 total touchdowns. He's running more. He just looks confident. And he was under pressure in this game. He took 5 sacks. But, you talked about the Jacksonville offense. When you look at the AFC playoff teams, you can maybe make a case that they are the best offense, right?
Right. Oh
They're,
yeah. Right now,
that
I
they're the
mean,
most complete. I mean, the
it's
Bills
not the
have major
Patriots.
issues in their passing game.
No, and the Patriots we saw last night. I mean,
I mean,
it's
the Patriots are very good, but the running game at times, especially without Henderson, but he should be back for the playoffs.
it's not
They're a
the
young team.
Ravens. We can say that.
The Chargers, obviously, it's the offensive line. Like we know Herbert's good, but like against a pass
Yeah.
rush, like if they're facing the Texans this week. I'm interested to see how that looks. We know the Texans are not good offensively. Pittsburgh's not a great offense that plays very slow.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can make
Yeah,
a
I can see
case
it. Yeah.
that they are the best offense in the playoffs. So in the AFC. So yeah, I think, and they have a shot now to get the 1 seed.
Yeah, it's kind of wide open, and that's the exciting part about what we're watching right now is that it's pretty wide open for some. The Texans win over Vegas kept Jacksonville from clinching a playoff spot, so technically they don't have that yet, but they can clinch if the Indianapolis Colts lose tonight. So that's what you're kind of watching for Monday Night Football. But yeah, I mean this offense is humming, and I think you hit the nail on the head that saying Trevor Lawrence looks really good, spread the ball around the field, extended plays with his legs like we've been seeing him do before. And this was one where we had a couple questions I remember about Trevor Lawrence, and it's just going up against that Denver Broncos defense when no quarterback put up points like that in Mile High. You say to yourself, yeah, I just can't risk that, and it's understandable. But again, the Jacksonville Jaguars have now scored at least 25 points in 9 games, and crossed the 30-point threshold in 7. So Trevor Lawrence, we talked about the turn that maybe we're seeing now with Liam Cohen. It took a little while, right? You think that maybe that happens midway through the season, but you got a new coaching staff in there. We were excited in the offseason about Cohen coming in. It just didn't look like it stuck right away. But Trevor Lawrence is playing at a new level behind this offensive line they've navigated early season issues that we talked about before. And they just look really good. Yeah, they look a little dangerous. I mean, Parker Washington coming away with that big game was just not on my bingo card.
I wasn't either. He's on my bench in my home league, so I could have used him. But
yeah.
maybe I should have thought, hey, they're going to take out the top receivers,
Yeah, of
so
course.
the
Yeah.
secondary receivers against Denver might
That was
go off.
crazy. It's just nuts sometimes how we see some of these guys come through. I think he's the 5th highest scoring. Oh no, he's down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's the 12th highest scoring player this week, including quarterbacks.
Okay, so
26.5.
Trevor Lawrence on the season, and this is 6 points for a passing touchdown. He's 5th in points per game at the
Wow.
quarterback position. So I guess when he was on the breakout list before the year, he's
Kind of works now,
gonna
right?
he's gonna be there. I mean, look, it took some time, but
It did.
in the most critical weeks, he has come through with some massive performances. Man, he's gonna be in that conversation for playoff MVP.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He
I mean,
sure is.
this is This is a 6 touchdown game and a 4 touchdown game.
And they get the Colts this week.
Yeah.
I mean, he could really do it. The Colts week 17, that's a great matchup. And if you go into week 18, who do they play? The Titans. I mean, you've got 2 very winnable games there.
Oh, no question about it. They just faced the Colts too a few weeks ago. That was like the worst game he's had recently. It was 244, 2 touchdowns,
naturally.
and 16 rushing yards. Not a bad game, but not to the level that we've seen him produce recently.
Well, and we know fantasy is so what have you done for me lately? So I'm really curious, our off-season conversations, if he finishes these next 2, because again, those are very winnable games, but between the Colts and the Tennessee Titans, like what that looks like going into next season. Because we're probably going to start a season without, I guess depending, but you look at Patrick Mahomes and his injury and you say, okay, are you going to be able to start? Jaden Daniels went down with so many injuries this season. So you've kind of got a shakeup of the top 5, not saying Trevor Lawrence is a top 5 fantasy quarterback, but he's going to be in the conversation of where do we draft him next year if he finishes out strong. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, he'll go high because people remember the finish to the season. And also, again, it'll be the second year in the offense. They locked up Jacoby Myers. You got to figure Brian Thomas comes in a little healthier and produces, especially if we see him finish strong in these last 2 games and then if he has a big playoff. So, yeah, you probably will see him go pretty high in drafts next year.
You worried about Josh Allen at all? I'll end with this one. 6.91 fantasy points. Season low. I think I read a stat. It was his season low across like a couple years that we've seen him put up that few fantasy points, which is this is what happens in fantasy football. There's nothing we can say to make you feel better today. I had him in Dynasty, and it was definitely the reason why I lost here. One of the tougher matchups going up against the Cleveland Browns, but then he suffered a foot injury on a sack late in the second quarter. Went in, got the X-rays. They said he was cleared, but it obviously, hampered his ability to run a little bit there. So he doesn't have an easier matchup going up against Philadelphia week 17, but it's still Josh Allen. I understand it, but just have to complain about 6.9 fantasy points because that's what we're here for, Adam. That's what the show's for. We get to complain about our teams.
Yeah, it's been frustrating with Allen because he's been having quite a few of these games this year. And I think the last time he had a bad one, too, he went off like the next week. So
yeah.
The problem is, though, this receiving core is pathetic. Like, it's embarrassing what they have done when you have Josh Allen in his prime. I mean, this is now 3 of the last 4 games under 200 passing yards. Like, he has to carry this team. And I wonder how much the injury at the end of the first half maybe affected him, where they just said, I'll go out there, but I'm not going to run much. And, you could feed a guy like James Cook, and we see how dynamic Cook has been this year. But, yeah, Allen's had too many of these games. This is now the 3rd game this year without a passing touchdown. And we've seen the yards, too, have been down lately. So, but it's tough because once you bench him, he goes out there and has 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't think you can bench him, but it is more than disappointing. 12 of 19 for 130 yards. You don't see that stat line from Josh Allen.
Yeah, the 19 pass attempts are the ties for the fewest he had. He had a game against Carolina where he was 12 for 19 with 162 yards and a touchdown. But just look at this box score and these receivers that they have there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Dalton Kincaid didn't do anything. Nope. Right? He had 1 target, did not have a catch. We know he's been banged up. Like, he was a risky start. If you just heard the comments from McDermott, like, we're gonna hope he gets through it, and he's clearly not 100%. He doesn't run a full complement of routes anyway. I mean, this is just a bad. I mean, Keon Coleman inactive again, a healthy scratch. They're getting nothing from him.
Nope.
So, yeah, they really need help in this passing game because they have nothing.
9 different receivers caught a pass from Josh Allen. The most targets on the team is 5 to Khalil Shakir, came down with 4 of them. Then the rest it's 2 to Jackson Haas, 2 to Shavers, 2 to Ray Davis. It is very disappointing.
Knox had dropped that touchdown pass.
That was horrible. But we're used to that by now, right? With Dawson Knox.
Yeah.
Come on. It's so disappointing. It's not only for fantasy, but I'm sure for Buffalo Bills fans in general, right? Like, okay, you still won this game. You eked out a win 23-20. But like you said, Adam, you've got Josh Allen in his prime, and this is what we're rolling out there. I know that they had Stephon Diggs before. You can say, okay, well, they don't need a number 1. They've got Josh Allen. Of course, they're leaning a lot on James Cook as well. 16 carries, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns. He looks phenomenal this year, but it is disappointing to have a QB1 week in and week out where we can't say, start at least 2 of these receivers, right?
Yeah, you can't start any of them. There's not
the
one.
Running. You start James Cook, and that's it. Yeah.
The frustrating part for Buffalo is that Kansas City is having this horrible year for them where they're not going to make the playoffs. And Buffalo, you don't feel good about them making a run. Now, the AFC is wide open, but what have we seen from Buffalo for you to say, yeah, they're going to get through the AFC?
It'll be Josh Allen when they do that, right?
He's gonna have to carry them in a big way.
Well, he's done that all year. So him and James Cook, that'll be the recipe for success, and that is a recipe that can succeed. We've seen that, especially this year. But they're not able to get an easy win with the playoffs ahead, and so that's the one thing that you get nervous about, right? You think to yourself, okay, this could be an easier win, but yeah. Keon Coleman not being out there. It's just all disappointing. But here's hoping that we get a bounce back next week. Again, not the easiest game against the Eagles, but you want a little bit more than 6.9 fantasy points. We'll see where Josh Allen is with that injury as well. I know he was able to go back out, but we'll watch those practice reports, especially this week. It is, if you couldn't tell, an Overreaction Monday. We are overreacting to everything we saw in Week 16 across the NFL. We're pissed. Adam's pissed. We didn't get as many fantasy points as we wanted. We want to hear from you though. At Valenzuela 17, at Adam Ronis over there. Overreaction Monday. We're going to go through some of those coming up next. I love this song. What a great song, right, Adam? You're like, great. I'm losing some of my
Yeah,
leagues, and
not
now I have
today.
to
I don't
listen
want
to
to
the
hear it.
Christmas. I knew it. Yeah, turn it up. Make him listen to it all day. I will say, not an overreaction, but Chase Brown. It looked like Joe Burrow was having fun out there. Let's just say that. You know, he said, "I want to try and find more fun when I'm playing football." It looked like he was doing that because it was a really rough Week 15 performance. Right, 5.5 points from him. Bounce back against the Dolphins, of course. We pick on them a lot, but 29.96. That was the season high fantasy points for him. Threw for 309 yards, another season high. Hit the 4 touchdown mark, which was nice for the second time in the last 3 games. And then Chase Brown also came through for you. So if you had the Bengals in this one, 32.9 fantasy points, that was a personal best for him. And yeah, they just looked like they were having fun. I'm sure people that had them were having fun as well.
Oh, they were for sure. I want to ask you a question.
Go
How
ahead.
many total touchdowns do you think Chase Brown has this season?
It can't be much. 6?
8. I thought it was
Oh,
more. He
no,
had
I
3
didn't.
of them yesterday.
Yeah, I was
3
like,
of his
well, he
8
got
touchdowns on the
3.
season yesterday.
It's been brutal. It's been really bad. And I think P. Ryan found the end zone yesterday too, right? Did he score?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Chase Brown. That's why I said 32.9. You're going to take that every day. He was barely getting up to, he had one game before this go above 20 fantasy points. That was 25.5 against the Jets in week 8.
But he's been pretty consistent. So since week 7, he's had double-digit points in PPR every single week, and lately too. Actually, yeah. So since the 25 that you mentioned against the Jets, he's had at least 15 in every game.
Yeah.
So yeah, it got off to a
Looks
slow
good.
start this year. And we did see P. Ryan cut into his work a little bit. He obviously had some of those big games when P. Ryan was out because he was playing 95% of the snaps. But yeah, the touchdowns really saved them yesterday because it was a quiet game for a while. When you were looking
Yeah.
around, you're like, oh man. And then he scored like 2 touchdowns like in the blink of an eye.
Yeah. No, it was a good game for those fantasy managers. What did Jamar Chase end up with?
Yeah, people not having there was Jamar Chase hasn't scored a touchdown in like
Yeah,
a
it's
long time.
been,
I
I
mean,
saw someone tag me in
he
something
has
like that.
9 for 109 on 11 targets. So again, in a
All
PPR,
right,
you take that.
19 every day.
Jamar Chase has not scored since October 16th.
Oof. Week 7?
So I don't think Burrow
Oh my
has
goodness.
thrown a touchdown to him this year. Wait, or at least recently, yeah.
Wow. It's disappointing to say the least. But it looked better last night. That's all you can ask for, right? Is him saying, "Hey, I
Yeah,
don't feel like
wait.
I'm having fun playing." So
I
have they not connected for a touchdown this year?
I don't think so. So week 2, Burrow threw 1 touchdown before getting hurt. I don't know if that was to Chase, Higgins, or Tinsley. So yeah, I think that
Wow.
might be.
Because he had 2 touchdowns against Baltimore, the 4 against Buffalo,
Yeah,
and then
Burrow
the
were
4
out for
against
those
Miami.
games,
Yeah, that's crazy.
right?
Wow.
Oh
That's
no, he
nuts.
did. Week 2, he had Burrow to
Okay,
Chase.
there we go.
So
There we
1.
go.
It's
No
1
wonder
though.
why he's not having fun. He's not connecting with his best friend.
Yeah, T.
Come on.
Higgins and Gesicki with his revenge game touchdown.
Naturally. So at least you got those points in there. Again, Jamar Chase, 9 for 109. You'll take that every single day. Week 17 matchup against the Cardinals. Let's do it. How about we do it again? Because that is a fantastic, both sides. Because I know Jacoby Brissett was not very Brissett-it and forget it this week. Was that his lowest outing of the season?
It had
I
to
believe
be.
when I was looking it
Definitely.
up. Because
1 touchdown.
it was,
He had multiple touchdowns in every game that he started, except
yeah,
yesterday.
10.6 in a ESPN scoring. He had never, this is crazy, but in full starts, he had never scored below 18. So then you go up against Atlanta, 16 for 31, 16 of 31, I should say, 203 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and only 1 carry for 5 yards. His
Yeah,
lowest
the
outing of
week
the
that
year.
everyone said, all right,
Yeah.
fine, I've been waiting. Okay, he did it against the Texans. Okay, I can trust him against Atlanta. And nope, didn't happen. Just 31 pass attempts. He was usually around 40. They only ran 56 plays. Atlanta had the ball forever, like every drive. I'm like, Brissett's on the sidelines again? Like, come on. So, yeah, they had the ball for 24 minutes and 26 seconds. So, the game was competitive. It was tied for a bit. And
Yeah.
again, a lot of what has happened and worked for Jacoby Brissett is playing from behind, being forced to pass. And it wasn't the typical script that we see from him. And yes, he let a lot of people down this week.
Yeah, it was disappointing. 26-19 win for the Falcons. At least, I mean, at least you got Kyle Pitts again, right? He's another fantasy winner, I would say. He's in a hot streak that I think people have been. How many years have we been waiting for this, Adam? Has it been 3, 4, 5? Has he been here for 5 seasons? I can't even
Yeah, this
remember.
is
But
season 5 because he's a free
that
agent
is
at the end of the year.
insane that this is his 5th season. But he has scored at least 15 points in 4 consecutive games. So that looks really good for him. I know that there were questions once we heard that Drake London was coming back, right? We said, okay, how much of a downgrade is it going to be for Kyle Pitts out there with the Falcons, with Kirk Cousins? But Drake London, if you had him, was not the best day. We can say that. 5.7 fantasy points, 3 receptions, 27 yards. Felt like it could have been bigger, right? Because he did have those 8 targets, but just did not come down with them. It was really Kyle Pitts that he just really wasn't affected by that. 18.7 fantasy points, 7 receptions, 57 yards, 1 touchdown off 9 targets. Yeah, the return of Drake London didn't do much to him.
Did not look 100%.
No.
He definitely maybe came back too quickly or aggravated something, but he didn't look 100%. It sucks because I did get him in there in a semifinal. I had to. That was the league where I had the 5 guys injured. So there was no debate. It was like, all right, London's active. He's in. I'm sure a lot of people did that as well. And yeah, it did not go as well as we had hoped.
No, unfortunately. I had questions between starting T. Higgins, Drake London, and it was pretty much a toss-up for me if someone had to pick between the two. Or I was one that had both of them in one league, and so at least T. Higgins came through a bit more, well, a lot a bit more. I think he had 14 and some change fantasy points there, so he had a better day than London. It'll be interesting, if people are still looking at Drake London next week, if it's all right, well, that was his first game back. He's going to be better. He's going to be back up to speed. But who do they play? So they are the Monday night game against the Rams. Falcons at home in that one for week 17.
Yeah, so they'll probably have to pass a lot. Boy, the Rams get that extended time off, huh?
Yeah, big break there. They'll be well rested and still mad.
They'll be likely playing from behind, and I see the Rams putting up a lot of points in that game, so they'll have to pass quite a bit. And yeah, you'll probably be going back to London anyway.
Probably. I don't know. I've got Parker Washington on my bench. Should I just roll with one Parker Washington, who was on my bench this week, by the way, because I did not see that coming at all.
No one did. I mean, I can't imagine many people started Parker Washington this week.
If you did, send the screenshot because I'd love to see that. Speaking of, you know me. I always try to be optimistic. Chiefs go down Patrick Mahomes. You say to yourself, oh, it's fine. Gardner Minshew will at least connect with Travis Kelce, right? It's going to be just fine. This team, oh my goodness. Gardner Minshew leaves with a knee injury. They're unfortunately thinking it's going to be a season-ending. We haven't gotten that confirmed, but season-ending ACL tear. And they are probably just going to struggle the rest of the way. I mean, are we looking at this team and starting anyone at this point? Because Gardner Minshew, like I said, you could tell yourself a story with the lower ADOT throws, lower average depth of target. You could say that with Rashee Rice, who is out with a concussion. You say Travis Kelce could be right there. But it looks like they're going to have their third string quarterback in for the Christmas Day game and probably the rest of the year. That's so disappointing.
Yeah, and they get Denver. So it's going to be rough. Yeah, I don't think you want to start anyone. I mean, if Rashee Rice if Rice comes back from a concussion, maybe, but it's even Kelce. You would have said, all right, Kelce's fine. 1 catch, 6 yards. Is Kelce going to show up to this game?
Yes. Okay. He's going to.
You don't think he's going to? Shouldn't he be at home with Taylor Swift on Christmas?
Oh my gosh. Well, they're getting our invitations ready for the wedding.
Okay.
They're addressing that. Obviously, we're invited. They're fans of the show. Yes, he's going to show up, but you can't. There's no way. I don't think I'm going to have Kelce inside my top 10. I feel like there's no way you can have him there with who's their third string quarterback. I always forget his name because I didn't know his name until yesterday. To be totally fair.
Chris Oladukan. I don't know, how do you say it?
Hang on, let me make sure. I don't think it's Oladukan. I'll tell you that. Is it? No.
I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Oladokin.
Okay,
yes,
there you
Chris
go.
Man.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. Chiefs are dogs by 12.5, and the total's 37.5.
Big Isaiah Pacheco game?
He actually had a decent game. He caught a lot of passes.
I know. It's maybe a 13.5 fantasy points, 6 receptions, 41 yards off 7 targets.
I
Who says
started him,
no?
and
Eight
I was
carries,
like,
34 yards.
I started him, and I saw him catching those passes. I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, a couple other duds on my team. But yeah, if you would have told me that's what I was going to get from Pacheco this week, I would have been really happy. Like, really? Six
That's his
catches,
best.
41 yards?
That's his best outing of the year
He
so
led
far.
the team in
13.5 fantasy.
targets.
There we go. Look at see, we can say nice things. We're gonna be positive here.
I guess, yeah.
Isaiah Pacheco to the moon.
If he's going to check down all the time, then there you go.
Oh, it's tough. Yeah, it was a weird week. Let's just say that. You couldn't Brissett-it and forget it. You had some low scoring affairs. Let me ask you this one last one since we're talking Overreaction Monday. Do you think Detroit's Super Bowl window has closed? Do you think that's coming to a close right now, or do you think that's something that they could come back from?
They've had so many injuries for the second year in a row. Offensive line too. You saw it early in this game.
yeah.
So they still have the skill position players, but they just keep getting hampered by injuries on defense and offensive line. So I don't know if it's closed, but they definitely have blown a big opportunity these last 2 years.
Yeah, it's disappointing because that was we always joked. We said, well, that's America's new team, right? Because people love Dan Campbell, they love Amon-Ra St. Brown, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. But I'll say this too, because they're sitting at 8-7, right? So I think they need a little bit of help, right, to get into the playoffs. It's not just win their last two; they need to win their last two and get some help in the.
I think
NFC
Green Bay
North.
has to lose both for them to get in, right? I think that's the
That
scenario.
sounds correct. The division is just getting tougher by the year, though. I mean, this is one where you really would have hoped that they would have made it by now because, I guess we can say the Minnesota Vikings, but really it's the Packers, Bears. Bears are sitting up there 11-4. I want to talk about that game with you, but yeah, I've seen the conversations going around about the Lions and what they're going to look like. Again, a disappointing outing from Amon-Ra St. Brown, 9.4 fantasy points in this one, and just disappointing all around. And for them to not be able to win that game was just a crazy sequence of events. So again, Overreaction Monday is going on right now. You can send us your overreactions, send us your screenshots, your Monday Night Miracles. Let's go through some of the winners, though. I want to go through some of the winners, some more of the losers from Week 16 for us in fantasy football. Who went hard for us? Who went home? We're going to break that down here. Coming up next. Winners and losers, that's what we're talking about. Who went hard for our teams? Who went home? Presented here by Mike's Hard Lemonade. I'm crying. That is so funny with the Christmas music. Adam just having one of the worst days ever. He just has to listen to that. The ones that went hard and went home for our leagues, again, presented here by Mike's Hard Lemonade. We talked about Chase Brown, but I do want to talk Chris Olave. That was at least nice, right? If you were starting Chris Olave, Tyler Shuck has been really good these past few weeks, especially these last, I want to say 5 weeks with Tyler Shuck. So you look at Chris Olave and you say to yourself, wow, wouldn't this be the best time to have a really nice outing from Chris Olave? And he came through 36.8 fantasy points. And it's not like it's been bad the last 5 weeks. He did have a down game against Tampa. He only got 6 fantasy points, but he got 20.5 against Carolina, 14.7 against Miami, and then 16 against the Atlanta Falcons week 12. So 36.8 in the fantasy playoffs when it is do or die time. I thought that was phenomenal with rookie quarterback Tyler Shuck, who I think he's been showing some pretty good growth in this Kellen Moore offense as well.
Yeah, Tyler Shuck, who is one of my quarterbacks in my Superflex League team that got to the finals. So I got to the finals
tell everyone.
with Tyler Shuck, Bryce Young, and Shador Sanders, my quarterback. So don't say it can't be done with subpar quarterbacks.
If you win that, you need to be. I'd be insufferable if I won that. I would hang a plaque. I would print out my sheet with those players because in a super flex format, if you gave me probably all the other teams you were facing this year, I would have picked every single one besides yours.
Probably. I mean, I do have Puka Nakua, so that helps,
Okay,
and Trey McBride, but he did not have a good game this week. But hopefully, the Bengals on tap, he can continue that trend. But Olave has been one of the best values this year. He was going. Sure. 5th, 6th round, and everyone had hesitation clicking that button. And this is the Olave that people drafted last year in the 2nd round. And he stayed healthy. He's had a couple of scares this year. I remember a couple games. There was one game I think he actually went to the medical tent 2 or 3 times, but he's found a way to get through every game. And you mentioned the bad game he had against Tampa a couple weeks ago where he had 6. He had another one with 8.7. Every other game was double-digit points in PPR. So he's given you a high floor every week, and we've seen a couple of ceiling games over the last 2 weeks, including his best game of the season yesterday against the Jets, tying a season high with 10 receptions, season high 148 receiving yards. So yeah, he's been really good this year. Another example of, if you're going to get a talented player that fell from round 2 to round 6, take them. Yes,
Yeah.
quarterback play was a question going into the year, but you got a guy that everyone was taking in round 2, and he goes several rounds later because people were concerned about the concussions and the state of the offense. But Kellen Moore, we know, is a good offensive coordinator, and you're seeing it. The Saints have won 3 in a row now.
Yeah, it's not getting a ton of notice because it's still the Saints, and I understand
Yeah, and it
that,
doesn't mean much, but
still, like Kellen, you said it, they're putting together a really nice December. They're putting together a really nice month. So they, like you said, 3 straight 29-6 run against the New York Jets, who I know you and I could probably go out there and maybe put up a couple points for against the New York Jets in that defense. But Tyler Shuck threw for a career best 308 yards and a touchdown. And I don't, for a team that was 1-8 in early November, they're 5-10. I just think that looks good. Again, it's small things with the Saints. We knew that this was kind of going to be a project and a rebuild for not only this year, but probably for the next couple of seasons. But yeah, I mean, the Jets, the other side, have now gone 15 games without intercepting a pass.
that's
so
insane.
really, that's an
Like
NFL
by
record.
accident, like a pass tipped.
Again, you probably, like, we've seen guys just standing there and get the ball thrown to them. It's just, we saw Sam Darnold do that on Thursday.
Twice.
Twice, and they were just standing there. Like, at some point you just think accidentally you're going to take one, but no, it's an NFL record, 15 games without intercepting a pass.
So Tyler Shuck right now is plus 370 to win Rookie of the Year in DraftKings. Tedero McMillan's minus 250. You think there's a shot that Shuck can do it? He's got the Titans and the Falcons to finish. So like say he has 2, now you can pass on the Titans. So say he has like a 3 touchdown game and they win, and then another good game against Atlanta. That might be enough to get him this award. Like if McMillan is like mediocre the next 2 weeks,
which is entirely possible with McMillan.
I think it's possible.
I still don't know why where's Harold Fannin in this? Harold Fannin has helped produce for that team. I texted you that 5 weeks ago.
He's 6th. He's behind.
I mean,
he's behind TreVeyon Henderson, Igbuka, and Jackson Dart.
They're not winning, but it's just Harold
I think that's part of it.
Numbers.
But he's been great in an offense that really has nothing. He had a rushing touchdown yesterday. He keeps getting the football thrown to him consistently. I guess the overall numbers are, the 70 receptions, 701 and 5 touchdowns.
It's a really
I think it's because
offensive race.
I think because he's on the Browns and they don't do much.
Sure, they're not winning. Tyler Shuck, though, I think that's been a great, not even a great story. He's just, has he not done enough? And we're going to see it this offseason. Maybe the carousel stops with Tyler Shuck and they try and build around him. I don't know, but at least for the month of December, right? And he gave you 17.1. I have highlighted him, Adam, for 5 weeks in the waiver wire article. I've just said if you're down Patrick Mahomes, if Jacoby Brissett or Trevor Lawrence isn't there, then you go pick him up. And he's not gotten under 17 fantasy points in 4 straight games. He had
still Atlanta. The overall numbers though for 7 touchdowns, 5 picks in 9 games. Yeah, this is a very underwhelming rookie race here for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
It's not great. Well, especially when we had guys like Ashton Genty coming out, and then you play behind that offensive line. Not a lot of people are going to win awards because of that, but he finally came through. That was also another big winner here. I
wonder though how many people actually played him, right? Because we were to the point where there were many weeks where Genty was coming through because he was catching 5-6 passes. And you're like, all right, fine. We know he's not going to do much on the ground, but at least he's going to give us a high floor in the passing game. Now, last week obviously was rock bottom, and that was with Kenny Pickett against the Eagles. But you had another tough matchup here against the Texans, and man, he came through. But it goes to show you that imagine this guy behind an average offensive line.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have one of the worst, and that's the main reason why he has not produced. But you saw yesterday his ability. Got the 60-yard touchdown reception and 128 rushing yards on the ground, second highest of the season.
Yeah. No. We know Ashton Genty's talented. That's why we talked about him all offseason. And I will buy the dip on Ashton Genty going into next year. But I really need to see improvement from this offensive line. I need Pete Carroll to go out there in free agency and just really shore up this offensive line because it probably could not get worse. And I know I say that a lot, but it's just been so bad. But Ashton Genty has shown flashes for us of these 30-point outings that he can give us. He did 33 against Chicago. That was week 4. So we know how talented he is. Let's just see him behind a real offensive line, and he could really help win leagues maybe going into next year. I want to talk through some of the fantasy losers from the weekend as well, though. Again, presented here by Mike's Hard Lemonade, the players that maybe sent us home. We're going to break those names down here coming up next. Oh, this is Kendall, Valenzuela, Adam Ronis with you on this Monday, breaking down everything we've seen so far from week 16 across the NFL. Did the Cowboys ruin your weekend? No. Everyone else did.
They got eliminated on Saturday.
Yeah. There you go.
No,
They
it
can't
doesn't
ruin your
matter.
weekend when
Man,
you don't think
it's
about
just
them.
so I was down on them all season long, and then they gave me that glimmer of hope.
I know.
In the middle. I was like, okay,
I was
okay.
shocked you were. I know. I was shocked you were like, hang on, but because everyone was right. They did a lot better for what it's worth than what a lot of people expected this year. 6-8-1.
No, basically they wasted a really good offense with the terrible defense, and then hoping Quinn Williams and everything, and got some players back healthy, but it was the same crappy defense. I mean, the Chargers offense has done nothing for weeks. Herbert's been under pressure, and they just made them look like one of the greatest offenses of all time.
They really did. I was looking around like, wow, look at these fantasy points here. This looks pretty good. Yeah, it was. That's what they do. But at least we got George Pickens fantasy points. Does that help in any way, shape, or form?
A little bit, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I think
26?
we expected him to bounce back for sure. I mean, there were most questions that I got involving Pickens was a start. CeeDee Lamb, I could have used more from in the GST. I mean, 6 for 51, just not enough this week.
Yeah, you got big fantasy days from Justin Herbert, got you 30.2. Quentin Johnston came through randomly. He was back, four receptions, 104 yards, 1 touchdown. 5 targets on that one, 20 fantasy points. Amari Hampton looked good. That was a nice day as well. 16 carries, I should say, for 85 yards, 1 touchdown, and then also 1 reception for 10 yards off 2 targets, 16.5 fantasy points. Lad, you'll take 14 from Lad as well. Yeah. They got you some fantasy points in this one.
Yeah, Kamani Vidal got hurt in this game too, so something to keep an eye on. I mean, they just need to go with Hampton. I understand Vidal pass protection. They are worried about Hampton, but Hampton's just a better running back, and he's been back now for a few games, so they just need to roll with them. And no one is talking about the Chargers. They are 11-4.
Yes,
and they've won 7 of their last 8 games.
Mm-hmm.
Now they do finish. They got the Texans at home on Saturday, and then they're at Denver, so they could actually still win the division.
That's crazy.
Right?
The Broncos losing that game yesterday to the Jaguars really threw, which is fun, but not for Broncos fans, threw a wrench in a little bit, but it feels like they'll still come out on top. But yeah, the Chargers quietly, especially after all the injuries that they've had this season too, Adam, that we've talked about, with Hampton not coming back until recently, and Justin Herbert with the hand injury, and kind of some of Keenan Allen, and they weren't injuries, but Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnston not performing really these past few weeks as well. Yeah, quietly they've looked good. So Chargers at home in this one against the Texans. That'll be fun. That's a Saturday game.
Yes. And Trey Harris, too, has really come on. He's still playing fewer snaps, but the coaching staff has really been talking him up. And, I don't think there's fantasy relevance there, but, for the future, he's a guy to keep an eye on. So, we're going to get some fun finishes across the NFL, but especially the AFC picture can change so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of fun. I really like, we just don't being able to talk like this about the Jaguars, the Chargers, the Broncos, the Chiefs not in it. Like some of these big hitter teams that are usually in the forefront of our minds going into the playoffs, they're just not there. So I think that's really fun. Can I just say one more disappointment? Josh Jacobs. That was Saturday, but that was awful. 4.8 points.
I cannot blame people who started him. We have seen him do this numerous times, and this was the one. To me, the coaches should have sat him. That's your job as a coach. They should have seen him all week. He was on crutches on Monday. You sit that guy.
Yep. That's what we get for starting Josh Jacobs. I was with you guys that started him as well. Let's go through some of the bad beats. Send us your Monday Night Miracles. We're going to the water cooler here coming up next. This is Fantasy Life right here, and it is time for that Fantasy Life water cooler. So this is where we go through all the news and notes that you might have missed throughout Week 16, especially those injuries, because we had a lot, unfortunately. We get you up to date on those, and of course, look through your Monday Night Miracles and take any questions that you have going into Week 17. 888-963-2682 is the phone number to call in, or you can press that new call-in button on the Sirius XM app. You can also find us at Valenzuela 17 at Adam Ronis over there on X as well. If you don't have time to call in, send us any of your questions, any of your Monday Night Miracles that way. And as always, fantasylife.com is where you can go to check out all of our articles. You've got Adam Ronis's articles out over there that you can check out. 6 things to know from Week 16, 100% free. My waiver wire article, if you need to go maybe pick someone up for I hope you don't, for the fantasy championship, but if you do, it's over there as well. Same with our projections, our rankings, everything that you need to know is at fantasylife.com. So Adam, you ready to go? No more Christmas. Well, there might be Christmas music, but you're going to be fine with that, right? Everything's going to be fine.
I'll figure something out.
You'll get through it. I believe in you for sure. It was a lot of injuries though yesterday that I just want to make sure we hit on here at the beginning. Lamar Jackson was the one last night, the most recent, I should say, I guess. He suffered a bruise in his back, and John Harbaugh came out after the game and said he's not sure how serious it'll be. So bruise in his back late in the second quarter. They lost this game 28-24 to New England. And in the post-game press conference, it's kind of unclear if that will affect Lamar Jackson's availability going forward. They said that, he was not able to return. And so kind of just disappointing again. We talked about Josh Allen not getting you fantasy points. Jackson was 7-10 passing for 101 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions at the time that he got injured. Had 2 carries for 7 yards. But this has been the tale of the season for Lamar Jackson. It has just been an injury-riddled year, and it's so disappointing because we know what he can bring us in fantasy. But when was the last time he went through a Wednesday practice unscathed, right? He's just been banged up all season long. He's probably going to be someone at the end of the season that we hear, oh, he was dealing with this and he had this injury as well. So just add another one to the list. And if you have him, just make sure you have a different option just in case.
Yes, because they play Saturday night in Green Bay. So it's a short week for them. Green Bay dealing with injuries of their own. We don't know who will be the quarterback for them. Jordan Love in concussion protocol, and the backup Malik Willis is also dealing with injuries. So yeah, that could be a battle of backups there.
It could be a battle of the backups all week for Week 17.
Definitely.
The Sunday game or the Christmas games. I mean, what the Vikings could have their backup quarterback. We get Mariota.
Mariota might not play. He's banged up.
Maybe
he's got 2 injuries, quad
the Chiefs,
and
the Chiefs are onto their 3rd string quarterback. It's absolutely brutal. So again, my waiver wire article is live at fantasylife.com. I'll save you some time though. If Tyler Shuck is out there, I would go pick up Tyler Shuck, and he could be someone that maybe you need to play this week, but I hope you don't. Can we just for 1 minute, because this was a Saturday game, that Bears game was phenomenal. It just absolutely insane. This is just a Bears team that just keeps winning. And DJ Moore, that 46-yard touchdown pass in overtime, it was stunning. I didn't think it would happen. And you look at this team and you say, okay, well, why not the Bears? I mean, they overcame a 10-point deficit in the final 2 minutes of regulation to push them into that overtime. And it was fantastic. Another great game from DJ Moore. Of course, you didn't have Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, but it looks like their connection, especially these past 2 weeks, Adam, has just gotten stronger. They could be dangerous.
They got lucky in this game. Let's be fair. They got the onside kick, which the percentage of that is very low. But yeah, that was a great throw and catch by Caleb Williams to DJ Moore. Look, and DJ Moore was probably starting in a lot of leagues because they were so shorthanded with no Luther Burden, no Rome Odunze. It opened it up for DJ Moore to get the targets, and it took a while, but 7 targets and finished with a big game. Colston Loveland, a little disappointing. I know people might have went to him, just 3 for 30. But yeah, this was a Bears team that this has kind of been their MO this whole season. They just kind of stayed in games, grinded out, and figure out a way to win in the end. And just a terrible loss for Green Bay. I mean, they just really blew it. Even with Jordan Love going down early, Malik Willis, we've seen him. He comes in. He's a capable backup. He was solid in this one. Josh Jacobs, we touched upon a little bit earlier. He just was not himself. He probably should not have played, and they went away from him. He had the fumble. I think it was the 3rd quarter, and then we didn't see him much after. We saw a lot of Emmanuel Wilson down the stretch. Malik Willis also had 10 carries. But, yeah, just a tough loss for Green Bay that could end their playoff hopes. But with Detroit losing, that just keeps them in a better spot. But, yeah, the Bears, they've been a great story this year.
It's been fun.
Yeah, Ben Johnson's come in and turned them around.
Of luck. Yeah, you need a little bit of luck in this league, right? Look at us in fantasy. Just need a little luck.
Luck definitely plays a factor.
I think he's come on as the years progressed, right? He's still, I mean, some of the off-schedule throws and everything else, the accuracy concerns, that's all still there. But I will say, like, when you look at his sack rate, he's reduced that from 11% to less than 5%. So I think that's good. And I think, EPA per pass attempts has stayed the same, but I mean, fewer sacks, more explosive plays through the air. I think that's been nice to see. So we did talk about DJ Moore and saying, hey, this connection, all because maybe there's no one else for him to go to, looks like it could continue to be strong. And I think if you do continue to build on this momentum between DJ Moore and Caleb Williams, they could give you one more good one. They're playing at San Francisco next week. So we've talked about that defense. They're more than beatable. Let's just say that. So 21, I should say, 21 plus in the last 2 weeks from DJ Moore. That's exactly what you need. If you had DJ Moore all season, I feel like this will wipe everything clean if he's able to get you another one.
If you made it this far with him and started him, but I went against them, so it sucked.
I'm sorry.
I did. The worst part is, I have Caleb Williams. I had to start him because our waiver wire is closed, and my other quarterback's Jaden Daniels. So I didn't want to these last 2 weeks. I'm like, I cannot believe I have to start Caleb Williams, and obviously I was stressing throughout the whole game because he was doing nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't get a touchdown pass till the fourth quarter. He was doing nothing. It was an awful day, and he winds up going 250. 2 touchdowns and rushed for 30 yards. So I was like, all right, I'll take that. But the fact that it went to DJ Moore probably ended my season.
Sorry about that. But isn't that fun? That's why we
No, it's not. It's not fun when the season ends before the championship game.
I know. For as much of a gauntlet as this team has gone through these past 6 games, I mean, he's put up not awful numbers, especially these last 2 weeks, though. It's been 18-21, 14.9 against Green Bay the first time, week 14. Obviously, you got a dud against Philly, and then 21.6 against Pittsburgh, week 12. So, again, they finished things off at San Francisco and then home against Detroit, and they've clinched a playoff spot, too. Look at that. Look at the Bears. Look at the Bears go.
Yeah, because this was a stretch. When I looked at Caleb Williams' schedule, I was like, oh boy, I cannot play him. At Philly, at Green Bay, home to Cleveland, home to Green Bay. So he's got multiple touchdown passes in 3 straight games. Again, it's not winning you a league. It's decent. He still has some things that he has to clean up. He does drive you crazy when you watch him, but then you see him make that throw to DJ Moore, and you know that the capability is there. He just needs to clean some things up. He's got to get more accurate. There's just way too many passes that are off target.
Yeah, I've got him and I've got Bo Nix, and I'm going into a championship in one with both those guys, but Bo Nix plays Kansas City, so it feels like that's going to be the right call. But you never know. 15 fantasy points this week against Jacksonville.
Could run a little bit too.
Yeah. No, well, and they have to keep winning, so that's what we need to see there. Some more injury news that I just want to make sure we get to. We talked through Lamar Jackson. Quinshon Judkins, man, that was brutal. Suffered a broken leg in the second quarter. And hopefully you didn't rewatch it, but he was put in an air cast very quickly and left on a cart. So he was immediately ruled out of the game. We're not going to see him the rest of the season. I think if people are asking, and I've seen a couple questions on what's next, I know I have Quinshon Judkins in another league going to the championships. Dylan Sampson has still been out. He has a hand injury that's kept him out for the past 2 games. Raheem Sanders had 46 total yards on 12 touches. He was the one that came in. So I guess if you want to play that game, maybe Dylan Sampson will be ready to come back this coming week, but we just do not know yet. But both are very much available across a lot of leagues. But still, just a bad injury to see from Quinshon Judkins, who started the year off so strong, Adam, and then kind of came back down to earth a little bit in the most critical moments.
Yeah, the thing though, the last couple games with Sampson out, he was seeing an increased target share. So that was raising his floor at least, because we know the yards per carry weren't great. They've had injuries on the offensive line, and he was getting a lot of volume. But, yeah, just tough to see that so late in the season for Judkins, who, again, was solid this year. It's just that the offensive line and the offense brought him down a little bit And again, lack of involvement in the passing game until these 2 games with Samson out. He was starting to get targets now.
2 other quarterback injuries. J.J. McCarthy injured his throwing hand in the second quarter going up against the Giants on a sack from Brian Burns. So he was checked on the sidelines by the team training staff before he went to the locker room. He had 8.3 fantasy points on the day. You're probably not starting him unless you're in a super flex. But at least Justin Jefferson got us some points, and it looks like it's going to be, if he can't go, it's going to be Brosmer in to start this week. So he did not necessarily do well, I should say, Adam, but something you have to watch for. And then Gardner Minshew, we mentioned, quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. He tore his ACL, it looks like, during that second quarter, which is so brutal. So now Oladipoon is going to probably be their Christmas Day starter. So it just feels like with that, we downgrade everyone. Maybe except if you're in a desperate spot, Isaiah Pacheco did get some fantasy points in this one. Maybe that's who they turn to in this game.
Yeah, I'd probably want to avoid. We'll see if Rice is able to return from his concussion. And Kelsey, had a lot of milestones to reach too. And now has 2 games to get them. So you would think that would be a point of emphasis. The question is, will they be able to even scheme that up to get him those numbers that he needs?
Yeah, it's brutal way to end the season for all Kelsey, Rashi, Rice managers, all of that all together. So again, and we have to watch for, this is not an injury, but DK, it looks like the NFL is taking a closer look at the DK Metcalf fan contact that happened, and that they're going to do that today. I have no idea, Adam, what that could be, if it could be a suspension for a game or if it's just going to be a fine. But if you didn't see that, DK Metcalf, what's a nice way to put it? Engaged with a fan during the first half of the Week 16 game, and looks like he threw a punch. Other angles are saying that he didn't. No matter what, though, this is an incident that's going to be looked at by the NFL, and we'll see if DK Metcalf is playing in Week 17. I just truly don't know what that could look like.
I'm guessing he does not play, and he will get suspended.
1 game? I mean,
at least.
Maybe we were joking about this in one of the breaks, but maybe that's what people need. So they don't have to, decide if they're starting DK Metcalf or not. They could just, say, okay, well, now I don't have to worry about him.
Yeah, he's been a very frustrating player this year. Again, this on paper appeared a great matchup. The game script didn't go according to plan, right? I think most people felt Pittsburgh would be playing from behind. Detroit was 6.5 to 7-point favorites at home. We know how good that offense is. And they couldn't get nothing done early. And Metcalf had 9 targets in this game, 4 for 42. So that's kind of been the story of his season. Just very inconsistent. Some games he doesn't get targets. And, they love throwing to the running backs, especially Kenneth Gainwell, who's over the last 6 games, Gainwell's like 7 targets behind Metcalf.
He's amazing. Kenneth Gainwell has just been probably one of the later round pick winners of the year, if not the best value pick this season so far.
Well, definitely down this stretch. I mean, these last 6 weeks, he has been unbelievable.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal. And as a Jaylen Warren manager, it's not the most fun to have to live with there, but he really has come together, and it's been them embracing a true committee approach between Warren and Gainwell. So again, 16 touches 16 touches, and it just looks good though. So I'm not disappointed by Jaylen Warren at all.
There's one player that you're disrespecting.
Who?
He's had 3 straight 100-yard rushing games. Do you know who it is? You don't talk about him ever.
I don't?
Yeah, never. You haven't brought up his name. Why are you disrespecting him?
DeAndre Swift? Who?
Nope.
Who?
Tony Pollard.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Sorry, everyone.
Do you realize that he's had 3 straight 100-yard games and 3 touchdowns?
Remember our Friday show, I brought up, should people flex Tony Pollard? And you said yes. 10.2 fantasy points, but...
Unbelievable.
Flex? Where did this come from?
I don't know. Where did it come from?
Why is this happening? What's going on? Well, Cam Ward is banged up too. For this week, not that anyone's playing Cam Ward. They had some actually good fantasy outings over the weekend with this team.
Spears too.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm sorry for disrespecting Tony Pollard.
Yeah, don't do that ever again.
It'll never happen again. Well, I don't know where this came from though, to be totally honest with you. We have not talked about them. When was the last time and it was the receivers that we were talking about?
I think the last time we spoke about them, we said, no one should be started on this team.
Look, Tajay Spears, 21. Cam Ward had 18 fantasy points. Chig Okonkwo came down with 16.4. Chimera DK 13. The Titans defense had 12 in this one as well. Tony Pollard was up there with 10. Yeah, sorry. We can't disrespect the Titans anymore.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Pollard with a huge workload. He's got 70 or 60 carries over the last 3 games? Crazy.
I'm not. If you want to talk, you let me know whenever you want to talk about Tony Pollard, okay? Then we can do that.
Wait, didn't they have a favorable matchup this week? Oh, no, they got the Saints, right? Was that the matchup?
Oh,
the Saints are road favorites. Think about that.
Well, the Panthers, I mean, I'm never betting on the Panthers again. Whenever they're not underdogs.
No, you got to take that. Well, they play Seattle this week, and they're underdogs at home. So you're taking the Panthers?
Could you imagine? No, I'm not taking the Panthers, but I am a little bit nervous about it, to be totally honest with you. Let's go to phone lines.
They stink.
Who?
Panthers.
Okay, I thought you were talking about the Seahawks.
No,
I was like,
Seahawks
who?
are good.
Don't do this to me right now. I can't handle this. 888-963-2682 is the phone number to call in. Let's go out to the phone lines here. I know we got some Monday night miracles we need to talk through. Let's start off with Jason in Canada. Jason, what do you got for us?
Hey guys, how are you doing this morning?
Good. How are you?
Actually, no, not good, but go ahead.
Good. Hey, so first off, that Detroit game was crazy last night.
Mm-hmm.
If Goff would have got that last touchdown, I probably wouldn't be calling you this morning.
Okay.
So, with that said, my Monday night miracle is I'm actually up by 3 points. My opponent has Purdy, and I have McCaffrey.
Ooh.
Is it 6 or 4 points for a passing touchdown?
6 points, and it's half PPR.
Oh,
half PPR. I still say Jason wins.
You really believe that, or you're just saying that?
No, I'm looking at our projections. I actually do think Christian McCaffrey, and he's up by 3
half point
already.
PPR though.
I know we've got him projected for 18.7 fantasy points, even with half point.
And what's
PPR.
Purdy at?
Purdy's at 17.2.
In 6 points for a passing touchdown?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's going to be close.
You're going to have to hope that McCaffrey rushes for these touchdowns and Purdy only throws 1. So, yeah, I'm a little worried. But I'd be worried. 6 points. I mean, Purdy can put up numbers tonight.
Yeah, well, especially, I mean, we've talked about this game and this matchup. It's just not. The Colts going to be without Sauce Gardner in this one as well. When was the last time? So 22 carries. He had 1 rushing touchdown last week. He hasn't had a receiving touchdown since week 11.
He hasn't put up a lot of rushing yards on the ground either.
Yeah.
But a lot of his production's in the passing game.
He scored on the ground every week since week 11.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's going to...
It's going to be close.
I think the half point PPR and the 6 points for a passing touchdown favors Purdy.
Especially if, I mean, I'm expecting a big Juwan Jennings game in this one. I said 2 touchdowns on our Sunday show. So it'll be a sweat.
Can you change that prediction to 3 touchdowns for Kittle?
No, I need 2 touchdowns from Juwan Jennings. Speaking of Kittle, let's see what Cody, what do you got for us here in South Carolina?
Hey, good morning. How y'all doing, guys?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hey, so I'm full point PPR. I got Kittle and Purdy going tonight. I'm down by 29, and he has JT.
Ooh.
How do y'all feel about that?
Ooh.
I think you definitely have a shot because we've seen if Taylor can't score a touchdown, you know, he's going to get heavy volume. He's going to get 20 to 25 touches in this game. It really depends on how many receptions and does he stay out of the end zone. But Purdy Kittle, especially if he can throw 2 touchdowns to Kittle or even 1, I think you got a shot for sure.
Yeah, we saw him against Tennessee. Again, different defense, everything like that. But 26.2, and then before their bye, Brock Purdy was giving you 17, 19 fantasy points. So our projections, again, full point PPR puts him up to 21.6. Xfinity best is sitting at 29 for Brock Purdy. So that could be one. Again, this should be a good game, at least high scoring affairs maybe for the 49ers. So that's something that you can look at there. Appreciate you calling in, Cody. Let's do one more here. Let's go to Jared in North Carolina. Jared, what do you got for us?
Hey, I survived Puka Nakua to at least have a shot tonight.
Nice.
I'm down like 20.3. I've got Brock Purdy, and it's 4-point passing touchdown.
All right, Adam. You want to say nice things or no?
Yeah, I'm gonna say you got this.
Yes.
It's gonna be a sweat, but you got it.
These are all going to be a sweat.
Yeah, there's definitely
these are really
some.
close from Jason, Cody, and Jared.
Yeah,
My
I think
goodness.
they're all close to like 50-50.
They really are. I'll say our projections have Brock Purdy right there to score 20. And if you only have Brock Purdy going, again, you just hope for connections. It sounds like more people need Kittle than Juwan Jennings. So we can say two touchdowns for Kittle. 4 touchdowns total. How's that, Adam? 2 for Juwan. 2 for Kittle.
Let's see. So Purdy has 3 touchdown passes in 2 of the last 4 games. But this is a matchup that I think he should be able to come through in. He's coming off a great game against Tennessee.
3 touchdowns.
Games indoors. So, yeah, because, he had a bad game. He struggled at Cleveland, and I think the weather was an issue. So,
Even though he struggled, though, he still got you 17.
Yeah,
you
but
expect
168.
more,
Because he had the rushing touchdown, too. That's why. He had a passing and a
2
rushing.
carries for 4
He,
yards,
he can run a little bit. He had 44 rushing yards last week. So,
yeah.
Yeah,
yes.
I think he has a really good game tonight, Purdy.
I do too. I hope so. Well, we're gonna see here. I've got a little bit of updated news with DK Metcalf, but we are going to wait to give you that. We are also going to go through the best around presented by Xfinity. We're gonna do all of that here coming up next. This is the best around brought to you by Xfinity. Imagine all your football all in one place. Easy Xfinity. Imagine that. Adam, we're going through the best guys around in week 16 and what our expectations could be rest of the season here. This one was Thursday, but still I have to bring up Puka Nacua, Matthew Stafford, right? Because not only was that a phenomenal game, I'm making lasagna the rest of, maybe I should send you some. The lucky lasagna. I think I have to save it for the playoffs though. I can't make lasagna every week. That's kind of gross.
Yeah, not every week. It's a little too much.
In the playoffs, though, right? I think I have to make it in the playoffs. I'll send you some. I'll put it on ice. It'll totally.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be
totally
fine.
well.
I'll definitely will not get sick or ill.
No, it won't get warm or anything like that. Sloshing around in a UPS box, it's gonna be fine. But Puka Nacua, no matter what, that game was phenomenal, and I will be making lasagna. So if anyone wants some, let me know. But Puka Nacua it held up. Chris Olave tried to do his best Puka Nacua impression. Came up about 10 fantasy points short, but Puka had 46.5 in this game. Matthew Stafford again against Seattle in Seattle Thursday night, 30.8 fantasy points. I said that probably solidified his case for MVP this season because he just looked really good and he's looked good all season long. But Puka Nacua was definitely the best around this week and probably for the year has been one of the best around as well.
Yeah, I said it on Friday, said it again on Sunday. Even if you went against Puka Nacua, it is not over. We went through the same scenario the previous week with Kyle Pitts on a Thursday night. There were teams that faced Pitts and won, and I'm one where I have Puka Nacua, and I might lose depending what happens tonight, and I don't feel good about it. So it's an awful feeling when you get 46 from a player and you cannot secure a victory. Probably speaks volumes about the rest of your team, or you had some disappointments, because, again, you could have a great team and not win a championship. That's the frustrating part of fantasy football, right? You could be the 1 seed. You had your bye, and this past week you had Josh Allen or someone take you down or injuries, and that's it. Your season's over just like that. And it's the unfortunate, sad part of fantasy football.
It sure is. I looked at one because I lost last week in my home league, which was really just tilting because I have that's my JSN Jahmyr Gibbs team. I looked today because, we like pain and suffering. So I looked today, if I would have won last week and got to the semis, I would have beaten everyone by like 25 points right now. So it's just one of those teams
That's
when your
the way
team
it
has
goes.
an off week. Yep, when your team has an off week in the worst possible time, because Jahmyr Gibbs didn't get you anything last week, and he didn't do much for you this week as well, if I remember correctly.
No, he was better
No,
because he had 10
well.
for.
He had 22.
Yeah, nothing on the ground.
Man, you know who hasn't been the best around? Egbuka. 5 fantasy points in that one. That is just.
And did you realize he was sitting on a 0 for a while? He caught a 40-yard pass to make it. Okay, first of all, the Buccaneers' offense is atrocious right now. There are major problems on that team.
Which is crazy because they're healthy now.
I know.
You would expect them healthier to be better, and it's not.
They definitely have issues in that locker room. There's no question about it.
Something's going on.
So Egbuka led them in receiving yards with 40. He had 2
That's
targets.
crazy.
His snap rate is down. His routes run are down. You can't start him this week. If you made it, you just can't.
No, it's just so disappointing because you thought at the beginning of the year I got, one of the steals, but I wouldn't even say a steal at him because at some point he really rose up draft boards. And so
Oh, yeah.
he
I was taking him in round 5.
yeah, I was going to say 5th, 6th round, but it's just been, I mean, he hasn't scored over 20 fantasy points since week 10. And it's just been really
Baker
low
Mayfield
lows.
has
I don't know.
not
Oh,
been playing well at
Baker
all.
has to, that'll be another one where I know that it's not for everything, but that'll be one where we probably hear that he's hurt as well. It's just
Yeah,
been
I don't think
so
he's 100%.
but it's been so bad, Adam. And the more shocking part about it with that team is, like we've talked about, okay, they've got not only Mike Evans back, but Jalen McMillan's back as well. Emeka Egbuka does not have to be relied on as much. You got Chris Godwin there. I just think it's shocking that the Panthers held off the Bucks and they take a 1-game lead in the in that division. And so it's, I don't know. The Bucks are just one of the more disappointing
So
teams.
Baker has thrown for less than 200 yards 5 of the last 6 games, and Tampa Bay has lost 6 of their last 7 games, and the only win was a 3-point game against Arizona.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought this game for Baker, at least because it's the Panthers, like he entered this game 4-0 against the Panthers since taking over as the starting quarterback 2 seasons ago. But there was nothing happening here. Like you said, Emeka Egbuka targeted twice, had 1 reception, 40 yards. Mike Evans, just nothing. There's nothing more I can say. It's just disappointing. And what did Bucky Irving do for people?
So once again, no goal line carries. So
Yep.
Bucky Irvin he's getting volume, but now he didn't even get a target in this game.
That's horrible.
And since he's returned, he's had no goal line carries. Now he was in for a play. So I think he had like a 12-yard run down to the 1. They left him in, but then they threw a 1-yard touchdown pass to Mike Evans. So that's probably why they're like, you know what? We're not going to run the ball. Bucky, you could stay on the field. Here you go, Mike Evans, touchdown. And then Tucker comes in later, 4 carries, 3 yards, and a touchdown for Tucker. So, yeah, so the tough part with Bucky Irving is it's like, I know people want to bench him, but how do you bench a running back that's getting 17 to 20 touches per game?
This looks like a committee, though, does it not?
It's not a committee. It's that Sean Tucker is getting goal line work. Rachaad White's mixing in. But again, Bucky Irving had 19 touches in this game.
Yeah.
It's just... The problem is
70 yards, 12 yards his longest run.
Yeah, so he like Rachaad White broke off a 39-yard run. So Bucky Irving's not getting any explosive plays. His longest run since he came back was 32 yards. But in the 4 games he's been back, he's had 19, 17, 17, and 19 touches. Any running back that's getting that volume, you're going to start. The problem, though, if he's not getting goal line carries, that hurts. And now he had no targets this week. At least in the first few games, he had 8 targets. Okay, fine, something in the passing game. In the first 2 weeks, he scored a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. So it didn't look as bad. Now that we're looking under a microscope and we're seeing his performance the last 2 weeks, everyone's panicking like, I can't play Bucky Irving. But I understand that. But how many running backs are you sitting that are going to get that volume?
Not many. And like you said, zeros across the board for his receiving work. Rachaad White had 2 receptions for 15 yards off 2 targets. Like, it's just, yeah. And then, as you said before, Jalen McMillan was in a little bit. Sean Tucker, 4 carries for 3 yards. Rachaad White, 5 for 45. Baker had 4 for 49. And then Bucky Irving led, though, 19 for 71. 19 carries.
It's just that it's empty because he's going to have to break a run outside the 20 and score. And he's going to need more passing targets. They play Miami this week. Obviously, must-win game for them. And then they get Carolina again in the final week. So Carolina's in control right now of this division.
Let's see if they can do it here.
They shouldn't get a team in the playoffs, the NFC South. They should just not let them in this year. I mean,
let someone else in.
This is terrible.
I know, it's embarrassing. No one wants to win it.
Whoever that 5 seed is going to be favored going on the road.
For sure. As they should be. Because, well, someone has to win there. Sorry, Adam. They just do.
I know.
We don't like it, but unfortunately, that's just what has. It could be the Cowboys. Look at that. You want to trade them in? See the
Yeah, I
Cowboys
would.
go in?
I
There we
think
go.
they put up a better. Well, I don't know. They'll give up 30, but they might score 28.
Exactly. We'll get points. That's all we want here. Speaking of, we're going to talk through this Monday Night Football game, some early Week 17 lines as well, with the one and only Jonathan Von Tobel here coming up next. It's time to break down the Monday Night Football game with the one and only Jonathan Von Tobel. And of course, looking ahead at some early Week 17 lines as well. Jonathan is the on-air host and betting analyst over at VSiN. You can find him on Money Moves, Countdown and Kickoff, and Live Bet Sunday. Jonathan, how's it going? How you doing on this Monday?
I'm good. Colts playing a important game, albeit, against the San Francisco 49ers with Phillip Rivers. It's a very intriguing game from a narrative standpoint. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen. And if I can get the Colts to win and somehow get back into second place, I have a 10-1 ticket on them to finish in second behind the Jags. So I need it, but I don't think they'll do it for me.
There we go. Well, let's start there. So this game, again, San Francisco traveling to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. Spread is looking at 5.5 right now. Of course, the money line sitting with San Francisco minus 240, total at 46.5 from what I see on FanDuel. But what are your expectations overall on this one?
I think I agree with the market here in driving this off of a couple of spots that got to 6.5. Cirque out here was at 6.5 and got cut down pretty quickly. I think if you're looking at what the Indianapolis Colts strategy is going to be today, and I'm sure you guys have talked about this from the fantasy standpoint, a lot of Jonathan Taylor, a lot of bleeding the clock, a lot of not really letting Phillip Rivers drop back behind an offensive line that's now a little dinged up and thin. And so even against, by the way, a front that doesn't really pressure opposing quarterbacks, but I think you don't want to put the ball in Phillip Rivers' hands as often. And I do think that means they could stay inside of this number. If you're going to cut down on possessions, if you're going to try to eat time with the time of possession and not expose your own banged up secondary to some issues, I think they can run the ball against this 49ers front that's in the mid-20s in a lot of key different run metrics that you're going to have some success, bleed the clock, and stay inside this number tonight.
When it comes to player props, are you just going to go with this San Francisco side because you're more confident, or do you see a way to take advantage of some of the Colts receiver numbers? They are very low for yards tonight.
Yeah, because the problem is with the Colts receivers, as you guys know, I mean, like Kendall, you've come on with us and talked about Alec Pierce and how good he has been and how explosive he can be, but you can't really do that with a guy like Phillip Rivers, especially when you go back to his last start. He had 2 throws of more than 10 yards downfield or 20 yards downfield. Like, you can't put the ball down there. So I think, Adam, when you're looking at it, I actually want to target Jonathan Taylor over attempts. You're floating around like 23.5 rushing attempts. I think that's probably something you're looking at. And I think you're probably looking at Brock Purdy to go over his passing yards. I think if he can do anything, and he's looked really comfortable, at least this last start against Tennessee, he looked pretty comfortable, and he's starting to get better. I think you're probably looking at him going after this Colts secondary, right? No Gardner, as we know. Obviously, no Charvarius Ward. This is now kind of reverted back to that Colts defense that has looked very poor at times before they got the trade and before Ward came back. I know Buckner should be back. I know he's questionable, but Steichen said he's going to be out there. So instead of trying to ask maybe something of this running attack for San Francisco, going over the 242.5 passing yards for Brock Purdy, I thought was worth looking at.
Because we've got a lot of people are waiting for a Monday Night Miracle tonight, Jonathan. Like, you're waiting for Christian McCaffrey. I see that his, if you're looking at the rushing prop, right, 59.5, the receiving goes all the way to 40.5 for him. But it's like, is he going to get it done on the ground? Is he going to, catch a touchdown from Brock Purdy? And then same with George Kittle, Tyler Warren on the other side for 2 tight ends that you hope they can get something, especially for Tyler Warren. That's probably the one that we've talked about where we said, if you're going to start anyone, maybe it's Tyler Warren getting the, the dump offs from good old Phillip Rivers, but there's a lot of guys still here to go for fantasy implications.
Yeah, I think Warren would be a good one too, because like you're talking about, and because he's not going to get pressured. And I think we've talked about this before, where if you have a quarterback who's going to get pressured a ton, maybe he's just getting rid of it, panicking and dumping it off to his running back. But I don't think you're going to be in that situation tonight if you're Rivers. Instead, it's probably just going to be a lot of easy completions, so that you can see if Warren's going to be there. I'll be curious too. I mean, the 49ers, going back to the Seahawks game, the Seahawks, I thought when watching them, they were playing off coverage a lot for a team that was facing a dude who couldn't throw the ball downfield. And I do wonder if the 49ers are actually going to muck it up a little bit more and say, you know what, if you could beat us over the top, beat us over the top. And if that's the case, maybe you get some explosives from some guys like Warren and others, just because this team's playing a little bit more aggressively on defense.
Looking ahead to Week 17, we have 3 games on Christmas, although a lot of them come with some questionable quarterbacks. But is there anything that you like for Christmas Day slate?
I mean, it's hard, right? Like you said, the NBA might be able to take its day back finally because nobody might be watching some of these games. I'll say this. I don't think this will get to 7. It's at 6 right now, but I was talking about this with my co-host Stormy Bonatoni on the show on Sunday. The market's a little high on Detroit, man, and we saw it again this last week where they're 7.5 and they cruise to that key number, and they never really have a shot at covering that thing. And now they're laying 6 against Minnesota, and I get it, Minnesota dinged up. They suffered a lot of injuries yesterday too in that game against the Giants, and how poor this has gone for their offense. Maybe this is the buy low spot you've been looking for Detroit, but I see a Detroit team that has really failed to cover numbers consistently over the last 5 weeks, now laying 6 on the road against Minnesota. I think that's a tough spot to be in. We'll see what the market does, but for sure, if this gets to like 7, count me in on Minnesota against Detroit.
Anything you're looking at? I specifically saw someone ask a question about Philadelphia Eagles going up against the Bills this weekend. Eagles, I believe when I last looked, plus 120 on the money line there. And same with the Bears. I don't know if you believe in the Bears, Jonathan, or you just say, man, that team gets lucky like we saw on Saturday. But they're taking on San Francisco as well, looking at underdogs in this one too.
So the Bears is funny. Actually, over at Circa, we have a blackjack invitational where you play blackjack, 21 hands over 4 rounds, and then you get to go into a draft where you get a free roll in the future. So I finished 10th. The Bears were my selection. So I have a $5,000 free roll on the Bears at 33-1. So in other words, go Bears. I think that they're legitimate. Yeah. For some reason, my opinion has changed over the last 24 hours on the Chicago Bears. But every week they do something where it's like they shouldn't be able to do this, and yet they do it. They can run the ball really effectively. I've been dead wrong on Chicago almost every turn. I've taken so many shots at them that I think, again, that I would not ask for my advice on Chicago. Having said that, with Philly, it's hard to turn down Philadelphia. I think it's in a spot against Buffalo. I mean, you look at what the Bills did again defensively against Cleveland, 5.2 yards per carry, 160 yards on the ground. Like, I think Philly's going to be able to move that front and run the ball effectively. I think that the Eagles are one of these teams that, yes, they've looked disjointed and somewhat uncomfortable, and you don't really like the vibes around the squad. But I trust them wholeheartedly on defense, and I trust that they're going to be able to move this run around against Buffalo, and I think they'll be pretty live here to grab a win potentially against the Bills.
Well, okay, there's only 2 games in the 4 o'clock window this week. And the other one, opposite the Bills-Eagles, is the huge clash between the Giants and Raiders. Raiders are favored by 1.5. Would you touch anything in that game?
You know, it's funny. I was because they opened up as a dog, and I thought like if you're going to get one, they should be at least like a 1.5 point, whatever you want to make home field here. So I did like the Raiders, and here's the thing: total non-data point, because I know this is Fantasy Channel. You guys like your data and your numbers. This is so Raiders to just come out and win this game that they should not. This is. I go back a couple of years ago where they won that game on Christmas against the Kansas City Chiefs, and that built the entire Antonio Pierce regime for like 2 years because they won a game. They're going to screw this up. They're going to beat the Giants, and then they're not going to get the first overall pick and do something with it. Finishing second wouldn't be too bad, but I think the Raiders are probably going to try to win this game really hard, like a very poorly run franchise would, and I think that's going to put them in a spot to potentially win a game. But I want to go out there. I can't wait for the environment.
Yes, you'll have to let us know how it is, right?
Yeah.
Raiders. Oh my gosh, I can't believe Adam, you would ask him a Raiders Giants question.
Can you believe though that there's only 2 4 o'clock games and those are the
horrible. 2? Well, at least the
Also,
other one is good.
When you were projecting the schedule, what did you think these two teams were going to be?
Exactly.
They should be by themselves.
That's how we were talking about Miami all year with them getting primetime games. Like, what did you expect this Miami team to be? Jonathan, we appreciate you so much, and we'll talk to you next Monday again.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. There he goes. Jonathan Von Tobel again, on-air host and betting analyst over at VSiN. Again, you can find him on Money Moves Monday to Friday, 12 to 2 p.m. Eastern, and then Countdown to Kickoff, 12 to 1 on Sundays. Live Bet Sundays as well, 1 to 4 Eastern is where you can find Jonathan Von Tobel. We're going to continue on out of Monday Night Miracles. That's what we're talking through and going through this game and our expectations here. We're going to break it down coming up next. You're hanging out with us right here, Fantasy Life on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio, breaking out everything you need to know for this Monday Night Football showdown. Question mark, Adam? We just need fantasy points. That's what we need. 49ers taking on the Colts in this one. I see so many questions on Monday Night Miracles, and if it was me, I would say that you're going to win them all. And I know that would clash with a lot of things going on. I see one from Dan here saying, here's my matchup. I'm up by 2 fantasy points. I have Jonathan Taylor. My opponent has Brock Purdy. 4-point passing touchdowns, no yardage bonuses. What are my chances?
Slim.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening.
It's not a good one. not when you have to face Brock Purdy with JT. And maybe JT can do, can fall into the end zone like we've been saying throughout the last couple of weeks here. But yeah, it not only was it a downgrade with Phillip Rivers going in there for the pass catchers, but we haven't seen Jonathan Taylor get 16 plus fantasy points since week 10 against Atlanta. So you kind of have to lower your expectations. So that one's a little bit tougher, but you never know. You never know what could happen. I see another one here from Chris. Down 12. I have CMC and Pittman. Opponent has JT. What are your thoughts there? I think yes.
Yeah, I mean, look, anytime you have McCaffrey on your side, you're feeling really good because the floor is extremely high, and we know this ceiling could be massive for him, whether it's 2 rushing touchdowns, a rushing touchdown, a receiving touchdown, catching 6-7 passes. So you always feel good when you have him because he really doesn't have a down game.
Yeah. I see another one here from Kenny. Down 43 points, Adam. But Kenny has Purdy and CMC going any shot.
Oh, yeah, definitely have
a
shot for sure. Even in a 4-point passing touchdown.
Yeah.
Again, McCaffrey can get you 25, right? And he was down 43. Yeah. I mean, that's absolutely can be done.
Absolutely.
When you have McCaffrey, you feel like anything can be achieved, right? Because
basically
the way they utilize him, the volume he gets. Now we've seen under 22 straight weeks, but before that, 27.2, 35.1, 34.3. His highest this year is 39.1. So,
yep.
And the one thing they have been giving him more volume on the ground, because there were a lot of games this year he didn't get to 20 carries. He has 3 straight games of at least 20 carries.
Yeah, 89, 53, and 73 yards on the ground in those 3. But he's scored a touchdown. The last time we haven't seen him score is week 10 against the Rams.
Yeah.
So he's scored every week since then. And their bye was week 14. So just take that into consideration. But this should be, no matter what, we just want a good game with good fantasy point outings, right? That's the one thing you want. With Phillip Rivers more specifically, I think, it's interesting because you look at the Seattle defense and what they didn't do to Phillip Rivers last week. That game was close, but still, we talked about how 70% of his passes didn't go 10 plus yards downfield, and the expectations obviously have to be lowered. I don't think a lot of people are starting anyone in this one. So it's Jonathan Taylor, really, that you want to find the end zone, get more than 15 fantasy points. Like I said, we haven't seen that in a few weeks now with him. But that's if you have JT finding the end zone once or twice against let me just say, 49ers defense that is, I mean, they can be scored on. This is not one where we're talking about the Seahawks saying, well, this is a tough case for them. It's going to be an uphill battle. I mean, you can score on the 49ers. So that's one thing you have to look at here with this offense.
Yeah, that is true. It's definitely not the Seahawks defense. And yes, the Colts somehow managed to stay in that game against Seattle.
Why.
But that second half, they did nothing. They had 67 total yards, the Colts, in the second half against Seattle. So I think Seattle kind of was just feeling them out, trying to say, okay, what can Rivers do? What's his ability to get the ball downfield? And then they kind of saw it and said, okay, yeah, we don't really need to worry about anything downfield. We can focus on stopping Jonathan Taylor. Let Rivers try and throw downfield, and he couldn't do it. So the 49ers got to see that and interested to see how they adjust to that because, yeah, it's difficult to feel confident in this Colts passing game with Phillip Rivers the way he looked last week. I mean, I don't see how it can get much better.
49ers have the fewest sacks in the league and are tied for the second fewest interceptions at 5. And they're third in passing yards allowed per game since week 5 as well, per NFL research. The other side here is just we see a big Brock Purdy game, I think, for others, right? CMC finds the end zone. I called the Juwan Jennings game yesterday saying 2 touchdowns for him tonight. George Kittle as well. We got a lot of pieces with the 49ers still left to go. But Juwan Jennings is my interesting one, at least, Adam, because we really have seen him come on. Ricky Pearsall not playing in this one. So let's see what he can give you.
Yeah, Jennings has been really good. Definitely someone you want to have in your lineup tonight.
Who are you taking?
Colts.
49ers.
Just
what?
kidding. 49ers.
What? Get out of here. Good luck, everyone, tonight. We appreciate you hanging out. We'll be with you same time here tomorrow.